Hey guys, good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Welcome back to Mishmas. It is day 21. I feel delirious. I'm pretty tired this morning. And ironically, today's coffee is a decaffeinated coffee. So I'm gonna sip on this a little bit and then make myself a caffeinated cup of coffee. This is a double espresso Chiaro. Woody and toasted. It's 8 out of 12 intensity. Let's see, 4 out of 5 body, 3 out of 5 for bitterness and roastiness, and 2 out of 5 for acidity. Yeah, this one, it's nice. Intense yet balanced, woody, earthy, and roasted cereal notes. Optimal for milk or over ice. Yeah, this is better than the past couple of days. I can't even remember the names of them, but yeah, the last 2 days I have not really enjoyed. They were kind of like lighter and more sour. Not my favorite. This compared to those, this is much better. But yeah, whatever. I'm gonna have to switch over to regular coffee. Anyway, let's open up these advent calendars. Let's get on with this beautiful Sunday, and I'll be right back. Okay, 21. Right? Yeah, we're on 21. We've got, Santal. I think that pretty much describes itself. It's nice. I don't think it's quite as heavy as you would think it is, but it is, I would say it's like a cooler weather sort of fragrance. Really nice, kind of sexy. 21. Here we go. Krista. I don't know what this one is either. I'm so unfamiliar with the Benefit blushes. This advent calendar is actually perfect for me. Ooh, wow, really bright coral. That's beautiful. And I see some shimmers in there, so it looks like it's gonna have a satin finish. Lovely. Hello, friends. We are gonna be talking about my all-time favorite luxury makeup. These are luxury products that I feel are worth the money. These are luxury products that I feel like if you're wanting to dabble in luxury makeup or you're wanting to refine your collection, these are ones that I feel like are a must-have. Now, I do want to preface all of this by saying I have dry skin. I have preferences, like I like glowy makeup. I like makeup that makes my complexion look juicy, glowy, things like that. I'm also 52, so I have certain needs, certain concerns. And so I'm coming at this and my recommendations are sort of based off of that. Many of you ask, well, I have oily skin, do you recommend it? And I can give you my best guess, but because I don't have oily skin, it is a guess. Let's go ahead and get into this. I was gonna try and put a number on this, like 20, 25. It's too much. I can't limit myself like that. I can't cage myself in like that. So we're just gonna start from the tippy top and talk about foundation. Now I am gonna start with a foundation that I've mentioned many times, especially in relation to videos like this, where I talk about my all-time luxury makeup, and it's the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation. I do love this foundation, and I did actually just make a very bold statement in my Dior video that I put out earlier this month that the foundation stick may have overtaken as all-time favorite luxury makeup. I love them both, so I'm gonna be talking about them both. I feel like they serve different purposes, and I feel like if you like, liquid foundation, I would say this one. If you prefer a stick foundation, you travel a lot, you're always in a rush, something like that, I would say get the stick foundation. And I even have another base product that I will recommend. But I did want to start with this one because I have mentioned this before. It is actually what I have on my face, and I just love the finish and how it makes my skin look. It has light coverage, but I feel like it perfects my complexion and my skin in so many different ways, not just with coverage, not just with like blanking out my complexion and allowing me to start with sort of like a blank canvas. But what I really love about this is that I get a really beautiful finish. And it's not just glowy where I just kind of look shiny and I just kind of look juicy, but there is this really interesting, I feel like eye-fooling sort of blurring action that goes on. So my skin just looks like super smooth, but it's almost like this filter has been applied to my face. And it's just stupendous. I love the texture of this foundation. It does come with this drop dropper top, I should say, this dropper applicator, where I would say turn it completely upside down. Let the product just sort of like hang out at the bottom there, especially when you get to the bottom of this. You want to just sort of hold it there. And then it's got this button at the bottom, and then just hold that button down. But I wouldn't try doing it this way. I don't think you're going to get any product out. You want to make sure gravity is going to help you out there. So that's the dispenser. And the texture, that's what I was talking about. The texture is very nice. It's very, very light. It's very, very lightweight. I don't like not only heavy makeup in terms of looks, but I don't like heavy makeup where I can feel it on my skin. I don't know anyone who really likes to feel their makeup, but I really, really like to feel like I don't have anything on. So this wins in all of those categories. It kind of ticks all the boxes. So that is the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation. I really love it. Oh, and I use shade number 3. Now, I was just rambling about the Dior foundation stick. This is probably my most used foundation of recent times because it is so portable and it is so travel friendly. You don't have to worry about it leaking, and it works in, and not to say the Dewdrop doesn't, but I have tested, I feel like, this foundation in so many more climates, if you will, like really humid climates, like when I went to Japan, when I went to Miami. These are really humid climates, and New York in the summertime I've used this, and it's just perfect. And I live in the desert, so it works in really dry climates as well, on top of my really dry skin. I love how fast this applies. I love how beautifully it blends in. This, I would say, definitely has more coverage than the Dewdrop. It also has a little bit more of a natural skin finish. So I don't necessarily feel like this leaves my skin looking particularly matte or anything like that, but it's definitely closer to like a skin-like finish versus the Dewdrop foundation. But I just love the ease of this, and I love that because it has a little bit more coverage than the Dewdrop, I generally don't need to use like an additional concealer, especially when I'm traveling. It's great to kind of pare back what I'm bringing, and I feel pretty comfortable just bringing this. I will pack a concealer if I am traveling for something special like a wedding or a party or something like that. I'm just thinking back to in May, I went to New York to celebrate my in-laws' anniversary, and I brought this and I was like, let me just pack a concealer on top of it. And generally, I probably wouldn't have even bothered. I would have just packed this. So on top of those two foundations, the other combination I'll say that I really love is from Sarah Creole. This is the Moisture Source and her Face Flex. So the Moisture Source is a bi-phase brightening essence. So this is, technically a skincare product, and you can use this after you wash and tone your face. You can kind of splash this on. You can see how thin the consistency is. And so it's just one of those things that you just sort of, throw onto your face. It absorbs into your skin really quickly. It is very nice for that. However, my favorite way to use this is to use it in combination with the Face Flex, which is, by looks, it's a concealer, but it is a concealer and complexion enhancer. That's the full name to this. And what I like to do is dilute this with some of the Moisture Source. And man, oh man, do you get a really beautiful, juicy complexion. So in terms of coverage, it's really up to you. If you just dilute it with just a little bit of this, you'll have fuller coverage. If you dilute it, with a lot more of this, you can get a lighter coverage. So it's customizable, which I really, really love. And they just came out with the travel size of this, which is so exciting because I've wanted to travel with this in the past, and I'm like, there's no way I'm packing this. I'm not packing this. It's a glass container. It is, how many ounces? 4 fluid ounces, so it's more than the carry-on allowance. Anyway, they just came out with the travel size of this, which I'm so excited for. But this is also, it's by phase, so you want to make sure that you shake it up. But just for your reference, what I do is I just pull out the wand. This is, like I said, a concealer, so it's just got kind of a typical concealer wand applicator. I just swipe like both sides onto the back of my hand, and then I drop, I don't know, around 4 or 5 drops of this onto the back of my hand. I just take a foundation brush, I mix it up onto the back of my hand, and I apply it straight to my skin. Now, I didn't do that today. Obviously, I have the Surratt Dewdrop foundation on, but you guys have seen me use it plenty of times, and I actually recommended it to my friend Laura, who was here last week. She's always asking, she's like, I want my skin to look juicier. Your skin always looks so juicy. Can you recommend, like a foundation or something? And so I said, why don't you try this? I think this is like the juiciest. And she loved it. She absolutely loved it. So I had an extra bottle of this. I sent her home with one. And she's actually gonna be using the Dior concealer with it because that's what she has on hand. And that's what's so great about this moisture source is you can use it with pretty much any concealer, like cream liquid concealer that you have, because I've tried it with the Dior. I've tried it with the Westman Atelier. That one's a little bit stickier, a little bit thicker. So I would definitely, like my ratio changes there in terms of how much, but you can kind of play around with it. But yeah, this is just absolutely wonderful. I love this combination. This is great as a concealer by itself. These products are wonderful. So speaking of concealer, I've talked about this incessantly for years now. So this is the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. I use shade 2N, 1.5N. I do have this on today underneath my eyes, around my nose. I love it. Before this stick foundation came around, I used to just bring this when I traveled, and I could blend it out so that I could sort of like use it as a foundation, but I was more like spot concealing. But because this has such a creamy texture, it was great. It didn't feel like I just had like spots of concealer all over my face. It blended out and like really melded into my skin like seamlessly. And so this is a great concealer if you don't want to bring any other kind of like base products. You could definitely use this on its own. I think you can use it on its own. The consistency is where the magic is with that concealer. It just blends out beautifully, and it has like medium to high coverage for sure. It's magnifique. I'm gonna move on because like I said, I've talked about that product for years now. Okay, let's talk about powders. You guys know I'm gonna talk about the Kogendo Natural Lighting Powder. This is my favorite loose powder. It does contain talc, and I did do a video where I tested 16 talc-free loose powders for you, and I don't rank them, but I put them in categories of like don't like, decent, and like very much. So anyway, I'll link to that video down below in my description box. But this remains my absolute favorite loose powder. It's not only the performance, I feel like it sets down my makeup, it sets it all day. Again, I have dry skin, so it sets it all day and I don't feel like I have to, you know, repowder as the day goes on, which is really great. But the finish of this powder is so phenomenal because it leaves my skin with this, I mean, the most subtle of glows, the most subtle version of like a satin finish, so that I'm not shiny. I don't look like I have like a subtle highlighter on or anything. This just has this really smoothing, very kind of like pearl-like sheen, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I highly recommend this. I've talked about this powder for years too. So I'm gonna move on because I do have a relatively new pressed powder to talk about. So this is the Givenchy Prism Lead pressed powder. And you know, when Givenchy reformulated their loose powder, their loose Prism Lead powder, the one with the 4 quadrants, I didn't like it. I don't like the new version of it. It's not great. It's not horrible. It's not horrible, but it's not as good as the previous version. So anyway, they came out with a new pressed powder, and I was curious because I thought, well, is it gonna be any better than the loose powder? I don't wanna get it if it's like the loose powder, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I tried it, it's phenomenal, phenomenal. So I have it in the shade 03, and it has like a very similar finish. I don't think it's quite as beautiful as the Kogendo loose powder, but for a pressed powder, this one has a really nice, very, very soft look to it. So again, it does, you know, much like the Kogendo, it does its job. I feel like it sets down my makeup, it sets down my concealer underneath my eyes beautifully. I don't feel like I have to reapply during the day. Again, I have dry skin, and the finish that it gives my skin is just very, very soft. It doesn't look matte, it doesn't look dry, it doesn't look hardened, you know, it looks very, very soft. And so I really appreciate it for that. Both of these have a nice, very subtle kind of blurring look to them. So yeah, these are my absolute favorite powders, pressed and loose. And just for reference, I only have this loose powder on today. I pretty much just like lightly dusted it all over my complexion. All right, I've got a lot of bronzers to talk about. I don't know what happened, but but I've got a lot to talk about. So the Westman Atelier Sun Tone Bronzing Drops, this is my favorite like liquid bronzer. It has the most beautiful tone. You guys have seen me put this on. And in fact, I just did a Westman Atelier video. I'll try to remember to link that down below as well, where I'm trying out their new blush duo. So I used this in that video, and it just has such a wonderful way of applying. It's not patchy, it blends out nicely. It doesn't set down immediately, so it gives you time to blend it out, but it also doesn't like take forever to set down. It's just a really, really great formula. And then the tone of this, so there's 4 shades of this Sun Tone Bronzing Drop, and I have Soleil Parfait number 1. It's the lightest, and it has this really beautiful, slightly peachy tone to it. So it makes for a great kind of bronzer if you want to contour with it, if you want to add it to high points of your face to like mimic the sun. It's really, really beautiful. I love it. Formula, color, the whole thing. So that's the Sun Tone Bronzing Drops from Westman Atelier. And then in terms of cream, I'm going to talk about this in terms of powder as well. Let me explain. So this is what I have on today because I wanted to make sure that I still loved it. You know, I have longtime favorites from years ago, and you know, because I'm testing out so many products all the time, I remember them as favorites, but because I haven't used them in a long time, I've been, you know, trying out other stuff. I'm like, are they still favorites? So I wanted to use this and make sure that it's still one of my favorites. And it sure is. So this is the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Duo in intensity 0.5. I remember when they came out with this 0.5, I was so excited. So they used to only have like one shade. It was just intensity 1 basically. And it was pretty deep. And I feel like the bronzer / contour, the shade side, was a little bit too warm for my skin tone. I made it work. I really like the formula. It's very creamy. It goes on, it sets down, it blends out beautifully, you know, all those things. But this intensity 0.5 is perfect. So I have this on as like a bronzer. I have it underneath my cheekbones and up and around and kind of on my forehead. And then I just dab whatever extra I had left on my brush, you know, down my nose, like on my chin, you know, where the sun hits it. It's really nice, really, really nice. And the formula is just creamy enough. It's not too emollient where I feel like, you know, I'm just kind of moving the product around. It's really, really nice. So I wanted to mention that. And I also just wanted to throw in here that I do love the powder version of this as well. So this is Moodlight, and they call this the Skin Illuminating Powder Duo. I just feel like this is the powder version to that one. So if you prefer a powder product, I would recommend these. Very, very beautiful. I will say, however, that there's no like glitter or shimmer in the cream products. Like even in the highlight, there is like a beautiful glossiness to it, and there is a little bit of like a metallic sheen, but it's very, very subtle, and there are no like micro glitters. It's very, very pearly smooth. The powder version has a lot more like micro glitter to it. So let me do some swatches of this. So I don't know if you'll see it. This is definitely one of those products like in the daylight, you'll see like just, it's very fine, but like some micro glitters in there. So it's a little bit more shimmery than the cream version. I still think it's very, very beautiful. It's very smooth, like the base of this product, it's very, very smooth. You get like this really beautiful metallic sheen. And yeah, I just love, love, love these duos. And I have also Peach Light in the powder version. So if you're looking for something a little bit, I don't know, warmer, or maybe even like a blush, and you just love this formula, this is also very, very nice. There's the peach. And then this highlight up here actually has a little bit of a peachy, pinky tint to it. So this is really lovely too. Yeah, this has a really nice, like slightly warmer tone than the Moodlight one. And I think this peachy powder in here would actually be a great like blush topper if you just want to kind of tap that onto your blush, make it a little bit more shimmery. But the formula of these, really, really great. Baked gel powder formula, just gorgeous. So love those duos from Tom Ford. And then this next bronzer, I've mentioned quite a bit. I definitely have used it for you quite a bit. I've used it quite a bit. It's come on trips with me, but this is the RMS Redimension Hydra Bronzer in Beach Walk Betty. And this has a really, really beautiful tone. So we've got another baked gel powder, so soft, and it has a beautiful sheen to it. Look at that. And the tone is really, really great. A little bit of peach, a little bit of the cool side. It's stunning. I love the formula. I love the color. It's great. This package is refillable, It's very, very similar to the other cheek products in this line, like the blush and the highlight. Really stunning, really wonderful formula, but I really, really like the tone of this. So that's Beach Walk Betty. And then the last bronzer, and we'll move on. The last bronzer I wanted to mention is very new to me, very new to this list, but this is the Farrah Homidi Essential Bronzer Compact, and I have it in the shade Bois, which is the lightest. And this also has a really beautiful, cool tone, rosy hue to it. So there's Farrah, there's RMS, Beach Walk Betty. Aren't they beautiful? So this is a typical, well, I don't want to say typical, but this is a pressed powder product. And in the pan, it's not especially creamy. I don't feel like it feels like a really interesting formula, but man, when you apply this, it just blends out beautifully. The tone is gorgeous. It almost like melts onto your skin. Even though it's a pressed powder, it feels like a pressed powder, it behaves like a pressed powder, but it really just sort of like melds right into your skin. It's gorgeous. So wanted to mention that. And I love this compact. I think it's so cute. It's also refillable. And I think they have like 4 or 6 shades to this. So yeah, so that's the Farrah Homidi Essential Bronzer Compact. Okay, blushes. Wow, this was tough. This was tough. I narrowed it down to a few cream. There's one cream to powder. You can probably guess which one that is. And then one powder blush. And when I was creating this video, I realized what I need to do is like my all-time favorite, or maybe just like the best of 2025 makeup that I have found at Sephora, because I don't know that a lot of those brands and those products belong in like a luxury video. So if you're interested in that, please let me know down below in the comment section, but I can do one for like my favorites, my Sephora favorites of 2025. Anyway, blushes. So Charlotte Tilbury, the blush sticks. I love these. These came out this past year, right around the time the Dior blush sticks came out. And I thought for sure I was gonna love the Dior blush sticks more. I generally like Dior makeup more than Charlotte Tilbury, you know, just as a whole. But I really like the Charlotte Tilbury blush sticks so much more than the Dior. I like that the finish amongst all the shades is very similar. So you don't have to say like, oh, I like this shade, but it's matte. Or, you know, I like the finish of this, but this isn't my favorite shade. Like, I feel like when they do that, when they kind of split the finish with the different tones, that I'm like kind of like picking and choosing what I like. And it just, I don't know, it just kind of annoys me. So I like that all of the Charlotte Tilbury have just a little bit of a sheen to them. They wear really, really well. That's what I have on my face today. I am using Rosy Glow. So Rosy Glow I really love. I also really love Cherry Glow, this red one. Cherry Glow just gives me that kind of like winter, you know, you've been out playing in the snow kind of all day like vibes. So I really like the Cherry Glow, and I really, really like the Peachy Glow as well. But yeah, the Rosy Glow is the one that I go for probably the most, because I feel like I can wear this with warm tone looks, cool tone looks. It's very neutral, at least on my skin tone. And like I said, it has like a really beautiful finish. And not only is the finish amongst all of the shades the same, but I really like the finish. It has just a little bit of a kind of like a glowy sheen. I don't want to say shimmer. I don't really see like micro glitters in there or anything, but there's a little bit of like a metallic sheen in there. And it's very, very pretty. It blends out beautifully. It blends out easily. I like that it's in stick form, just really easy to use. I love these. And the packaging isn't bad. I like the Dior packaging more, but I love that they're color-coded. Very, very nice, easy to spot in your collection. Like thumbs up all around for these Charlotte Tilbury blush sticks. And another blush stick, I wanted to mention these because this has definitely appeared in previous all-time favorite luxury makeup, but this is the Westman Atelier Baby Cheeks Blush Stick. This shade, it took me a long time to pick up this shade. And the reason is this particular shade isn't exclusive to the Westman Atelier site. So, you know, I do a lot of my shopping on Sephora, and because I think I do have every single shade, I just thought I don't need that last shade from Westman Atelier. I don't need to make that like special order from Westman Atelier. Apparently I did, because this shade I love so much. So this is Mimi. This is the one that's exclusive to Westman Atelier, and it's just the perfect kind of neutral shade. It's a little bit peachy, a little bit of a nude. It just works beautifully for the everyday. The formula of these, really, really nice. They're all very creamy, but there's no sheen to most of the Westman Atelier. The one that has a sheen is the really light peachy one. Sorry, I had to grab it. It is Minette. I knew it started with an M. So this one is the only one that has a little bit of a sheen to it, slight golden kind of sheen to it. Anyway, the rest of them are cream. This Mimi is a great cream. So if you don't like shimmery blush, these Westman Atelier Baby Cheeks blush sticks, they'll be your best friend. They just apply really well and they last a really long time. I feel like my cheeks like eat up, probably because I have very dry skin, eats up products. So there's like plenty of cream blushes that I just don't think really work really well on my cheeks. Like they just disappear after a couple hours. I always think like, didn't I put blush on? But these, the Charlotte Tilbury and the Westman Atelier, they like stay put. They don't fade. Like my cheeks don't eat them up. They're just really wonderful. So anyway, those are the two blush sticks I wanted to recommend. And then the cream to powder blush I wanted to talk about. No surprise here. These from Chanel. These are the cream to powder blush. And the shade that I use the most is this one. This is Beige Eclatant. And I was using like a rosier shade when I first got these, but there's something about this shade after I bleached my hair. This shade just works really, really well. And this formula is so incredible. So definitely feels creamy in the pan and it acts like a cream when you apply it. It like blends out really easily. It looks very creamy on the cheeks. And then when it sets down, I feel like that's when its powder characteristics kind of come out to play. It sets down, it doesn't feel emollient on the cheeks, it stays put. And it has more of like a powder feel on the cheeks, but I love the fact that it has like a creaminess to it when I'm picking it up on the brush, when I'm applying it, like it just makes it really like smooth, really, really smooth. So I love these. I've applied these for you a lot. I've used them for you a lot. So anyway, we'll move on. And then the powder blush that I wanted to mention are these Westman Atelier powder duos. So this is Suede and Sable, and this is Coquette, Mimi and Coquette, or Coquette Mimi? Coquette and Mimi. Now I've talked about these a lot since I got them. I've applied these for you often. I want to say if I had to choose one, if you have a similar skin tone to mine and you have similar makeup taste, I would say get the Suede and Sable. This is just stunning. And I feel like you can use this as a bronzer, this as a blush, and they just sort of blend really well together. And it's so interesting because the blush is deeper than the bronzer, but they still work really well together. You can mix these two together if you just want to, you know, like a one and done sort of like cheek situation. I've mixed the two together and I've just brushed it kind of like all over, and it's gorgeous. And there's something about these powders I find to be very blurring, if you will. They're just like kind of a powder formula, but they do this very like beautiful like softening effect on the cheeks. I find it the most when I use this Coquette shade. It has like this really, really, I mean, in the most subtle way, like glow to it, like a very lit from within kind of glow. It's just stunning. And then this Mimi, which is basically the powder version of the stick that I just showed you, is a really nice deeper blush if you want. It's a really nice like light contour if you want. This is great for like a really light everyday kind of like makeup look. Again, if you have a similar skin tone to mine. Really, really gorgeous. But all the duos, I find the powder formula to be very similar. So I'm just pulling these two out because they happen to work best for me and my taste. But the formula, I'm speaking for like all of them. So these are wonderful, definitely recommend. And I love the packaging, so beautiful. Okay, for highlight, I will start with the one that I am wearing. This is the Prada highlighter, and this is in shade number 1. I do also have shades 2 and 3. Those are too deep for my skin tone. So those work better for me as, you know, eyeshadow, inner corner highlight, bronze or blush topper. I'm gonna start saying bronze. Blush or bronzer topper. This one is a great, great tone for actual highlights. So that's what I have just lightly dusted. This is a light dusting. This is how beautiful, highlighty, smooth, reflective, all of the things. It is just such a beautiful highlighter. So, so beautiful. And if you caught my yesterday's declutter, I go through my highlighters and I was like swatching a lot of my much older highlighters, and they were just so much smoother and shinier than the ones that they're coming out with now. And I know that's not for everyone. I definitely have some like toned down highlighters that I like, that I reach for, that I depend on when I just want something more subtle. But I really miss those like super bright, smooth, shiny highlighters, because even if I didn't use those every day, I could definitely appreciate them. And I feel like Prada kind of brought it back with this one, because this formula is so interesting. It's not very powdery, if you will. You can see there's not a lot of kick up, but you can see I've gone in there pretty hard with my brush. There's like bits of it that's missing. And it just goes on like so smoothly. And like I said, you don't need a lot. This is like just a couple taps of the brush swept on. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So that's the Prada highlighter, shade number 1 for my skin tone. And then this liquid highlighter, I really, like, surprisingly loved. So this is the Chanel Iridescent Illuminating Fluid. Now I got it because I wanted to try it. I was like, oh, it's Chanel. Love Chanel. But the word iridescent kind of threw me, because I'm like, I don't want to look like a unicorn. I'm too old for that. So while this does have like a little bit of an iridescence to it, it is above all, can you see that? It's just pearly, it's smooth, it is slightly metallic. It's just gorgeous. And I love just pumping out maybe half a pump, you don't need that much, and just like kind of tapping 3 of my fingers in there and then just tapping it onto my cheeks. You know what? I'm just going to do that, even though I'm going to end up with a super glowy look. But I just want to demonstrate how subtle the iridescence is. So I would say it shifts from like a champagne gold to a pinky peach, but that's it. It's not like a really scary kind of iridescence. And yeah, I just fell in love with this. And I'll just tap it all over. The high points. It does have the Chanel scent to it, that kind of a camellia smell. It smells like some of their foundations. It doesn't bother me because it's a face product. I'm a lot pickier when it comes to lip products. But if that bothers you, I wanted to mention that. But this highlight is absolutely stunning. And I'm not sure if this is limited edition. When I first got it, I thought maybe it was, but I just checked the Chanel site and it's there. It doesn't say it's limited edition. So anyway, I thought I'd mention it. I really like, especially in these videos, I really like to stay away from limited edition products. I've got one on here because I couldn't resist, but generally I like to stay away from that because I want you guys the chance to get it if you want it, if it's something that interests you. So anyway, those are my highlighter picks. Need a coffee break. Okay, and for brows, you guys know I love the Dior Show Onset Brow Gel. Now, I had been using dark brown for a very long time, probably too long. So I just tossed out that tube. It was drying up. I wasn't, grabbing a lot of product. So anyway, I had a backup in my backup drawer. Another thing you would have seen if you watched my declutter from yesterday, but it's in the shade black. And I was like, oh, is this gonna be too dark? So I used it today, and what I like about this black is that it's like a very soft black. You can probably see it on the wand here. It's like a very, very dark gray. And I think I actually, let me try and swatch this. I think I actually like this more than the dark brown. Sorry, it's so messy. But that is the black. So if you've been afraid of using the black, but you really like a soft black, a gray, like a dark gray, I would give this a shot. Now, what I love about this is the formula. It is not too dry, not too wet. It's on a little bit of the drier side, which I prefer. I really don't like super wet brow product. I mean, for obvious reasons, right? I don't like wet brow products. I just find them to be really messy. I do like the tone. The dark brown works for me. This black, I've now discovered, works for me. The consistency of this product is really nice. It's not too thin. It's not too thick. It does a nice job like holding my brows in a very, very light way without them feeling too crunchy. Again, it's like, I don't like those brow gels that are so crunchy. It's almost just like a regular hair gel where like if you get any on your face, you can feel it when you're scrunching. There's nothing like that with this brow gel. It's very soft. It's very, very natural. The spoolie is the perfect size to me. It's small, but not too small. I love it. It wears well all day. I don't feel like it fades. I don't feel like it runs or smudges throughout the day. That's a nightmare. So yeah, I love this Dior brow gel. Okay, for eyeshadow, I've got one big palette and then the rest are singles. So the Natasha Denona Eye Sculpt Texture and Tone palette. And I was thinking about all the other Natasha Denona palettes that I love, like the I Need a Nude, the Glam palette. Those two are really, really gorgeous. I would always recommend those, but I wanted to shout this one out. This is the Eye Sculpt, what's the full name? The Eye Sculpt Texture and Tone palette. This is the lighter, more neutral, cooler leaning palette. So this palette I ended up kind of picking for this video because it's more basic than the I Need a Nude or the Glam palettes, and I feel like this makes for a great sort of like foundation palette for any collection. So you can use this to kind of like start any look or finish any look. It just has, I think, a little bit more versatility than those two other palettes, the I Need a Nude and Glam. Those are gorgeous. If you're tempted by those, if you have not picked them up yet, I would highly recommend. But this palette, it's just solid. You know, it's one of those like real rock solid palettes. So you have a ton of mattes here, and I have P2. I basically have this down just all over my lids. I just wanted to put down like a nice matte layer. And then you've got a few like shimmers in here just to kind of like finish off your look with like a little bit of shine. And then we've got some like creamier mattes down here. It's just a really beautiful, versatile, basic palette. And yeah, I love the formulas. I love the entire range here. I love the big mirror that it has. This compact is gorgeous. These pans are refillable, I should say, this whole palette. It's just stunning. And I was so happy to see her come out with these. You know, Natasha Denona comes out with, and I think she's just really well known for her eyeshadows. And a lot of them have like a color scheme, which I love. So much fun. Like I love that yucca palette with the greens and the golds. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much fun. But this is like for everyone. And there is the deeper, like warmer version of this because I'm so pale. This is perfect for me. But I think she just sort of like covered it all with these two palettes, these two Eye Sculpt Texture and Tone palettes. I don't know why I can't remember the name of this. I'm always saying it's like the Eye Texture palette, and I'm like, that's stupid. Anyway, Eye Sculpt Texture and Tone palette. It's gorgeous. It's stunning. It's like a must-have for every collection. Okay, now for the singles. I love, love, love these Chanel Ombre Essentiel singles. These came out not this past year, but last year. I think the spring of 2024. And I just love them. I love them. I hope they come out with new shades because I pretty much have gotten, I don't know, like all of the neutral shades or all the shades that I would wear. But Brun Talpa is my absolute favorite. Look at that guy. And let me do a swatch. It is on my eyes. It's kind of a light swatch, but it's the perfect one and done shadow. It is what I use just on the outer corners here and along my lash line. Stunning, stunning. And I think what's so surprising about these is that they are marketed as long wear. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I don't usually, again, I have dry skin. I don't have oily eyelids, but it's not something I ever really think about so much with my eyeshadows. Like by the end of the day, if they faded a little bit, so be it. Not that big of a deal. But these really are long wear. They look exactly the same at the end of the day as they do when I first apply them. So very, very impressive. The formula is not like a cream to powder formula, but there is like a creaminess to them. So I feel like you can use a brush, which I generally do, but you can also use your finger, which is what I did with this peachier shade. So this other shade, this Pêche Glacée, is another one that I love. And yeah, I just tap that onto like the inner portions of my lids. Just stunning. And I also love this Quartz Fume. This is the newest one to my collection. I just picked this up when I got the chance to visit the Chanel Beauty Boutique in Miami, and I got to visit Gio. It was so, so great meeting him. Anyway, I picked this up too. This one has like a little bit more of a warmer kind of gold sheen to it. So here's Quartz Fume. That's Bruntalpa. Let me just do a Pêche Glacé swatch. There's Pêche Glacé. Aren't those stunning? I also have the green, the Jade Facette. I think that's how you Facette. That one is really beautiful, but it's green. I don't wear that shade too often, but it's really, really beautiful. These three shades I wear quite a bit. So love the formula, love these shades. I love single shadows. Again, it's really great for travel. If you like one and done, it's so great. There was plenty of trips where I just took the Bruntalpa. It worked out beautifully. So yeah, I just love those. I am also going to shout out the Surratt Artistic eyeshadows. Now I just redid this palette. I replaced all the eyeshadows that I had. I had ones that were discontinued. They were very old, very, very old. So if you're wondering why all of these look so new, it's because I just replaced them all. But this, and the cheek products, I should probably have mentioned these when I talked about blushes, but there's something really, really phenomenal about this Surratt formula. So they use what's called like this slurry process or slurry formula to create their powder products. And they are, I want to say, almost like a powder to cream formula. So they feel powdery in the pan, they pick up like powders, they'll look like powder on your brush, but when you apply them, they kind of blend out and act like powders, but then they just kind of meld and they kind of melt onto your skin. They're absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. So I'm going to do a swatch of Patine. There's a bunch of different finishes too. They have more shimmery finishes, matte finishes. Patine happens to be more like a satin. There it is, right? Looks like a powder. And then when you apply them, look at that soft application. That's what I mean by melt. It all of a sudden kind of looks like, as you're working it in, you'll see it. It kind of just becomes like a cream, and not in a way where it turns wet and it like literally turns into a cream. It just sort of starts to behave and look really creamy on the lids and kind of have that really blurred out edge to them. They're just really stunning, really, really unique. So I wanted to mention those. There's a ton, as you know, a ton of different shades. I'm confident you can find one that you really enjoy. So they also have on the Surratt site, they have pre-curated palettes. So if you don't know what to choose, they have some really beautiful palettes of like 4 or 3 different shades. They may have one that has like 6. So if you don't really know where to start, I would definitely look at those. But if you like, single shadows and you like putting like a quad together yourself, I would definitely go through and kind of like pick the ones that you really enjoy because there's such a huge selection. Okay, here's the one product that I'll be talking about in this video that is limited edition currently. Now I am making a plea to Chantecaille to make these eye lumières permanent. Come out with different shades if you want, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do. The formula is fantastic. I do love these 3 shades. I mean, my dream is if these exact products were part of your permanent line, but I have never ever experienced like a liquid cream shadow like this that works as beautifully and as seamlessly and just looks so stunning on the lids. Absolutely gorgeous. So that was the middle shade, which is Cremant, and the lightest shade is Tulle. I'm just gonna swatch all of these for you. And so much so that I'm thinking about getting a backup because I'm like, if they discontinue these, I'm gonna be really, really angry. So we've got these 3 shades, which, I mean, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Maybe they could come out with one between the middle shade and the deeper shade. I don't know. I don't really care. Just keep this formula. It is so easy to apply. You could apply it with the doe foot, blend it out with the doe foot, wipe off the extra on the bottle and blend it out with the doe foot that way. You can use your fingers if you want. You can use a brush. They just apply perfectly. I apply them over a bare lid. I apply them over other shadows. They play well together. They're stunning. They're absolutely stunning. I had my friend Laura try them, and because I've been going on and on about them in my videos, she actually asked, she was like, what were those eyeshadows that you love? The like cream ones in the tube? I was like, oh my God, the Chantecaille. So she tried them. She absolutely loved them. I think she'll be getting them too. I love these. I love them. And I'm sorry that they're limited edition. I think they're still available. At least at the time that I'm filming this, they are still available. If there is one liquid eyeshadow to get, liquid or cream, I don't know what you would consider these. Cream maybe is like more in a pan. Anyway, if there's one non-powder eyeshadow to get this season, these are the ones. They are just absolutely impeccable. So easy to work with. And Chantecaille, if you're watching this, please consider making these part of your core line. All right, I've got one eyeliner to mention. It's what I'm using to tightline my upper lash line here. It's the Prada. The Durable Gliding Eye Pencil. I love the shade Ember. It's a cooler brown with a slight kind of metallic sheen to it. If you use it the way I use it, you can't even like tell that it has a metallic sheen, but I like that the metallic sheen in there is like a silver, so it keeps it kind of cool looking. And I do like this cool tone brown. It's a little bit closer to like gray and black, which I like to just sort of give my lash line a little bit of that depth. Anyway, this eyeliner is so freaking good. I don't know what magic they put in this eyeliner. I don't even usually get that excited for eyeliner. I'm like, whatever. It blends out beautifully. It stays put. It never smudges. I can put it on my waterline. I can put it on my eyelid. It is absolutely stunning. Stunning. It just performs so well. I've never had an eyeliner that I could smudge, that blends out really beautifully, that stays on my waterline, and not like move throughout the day and not fade or anything like that, and easy to remove at the end of the day. I'm not like struggling with it. It's not like one of those long wear, sets down, crazy eyeliners where I feel like I look like a raccoon no matter like how many times I run over like an eye makeup remover pad. It's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. Again, I don't know what magic they use in this particular pencil, but it's incredible. For mascara, I've definitely mentioned this mascara, excuse me, in previous all-time favorite luxury makeup videos, and that's the Surratt Noir Lash Tint. So that's what I have on my lashes today. I love that it keeps my curl. My lashes don't droop as the day goes on. The very unique applicator, it is bristleless. It looks like a screw. That's how it kind of grabs the product. And then you just glide this over your lashes. It's perfect. I have really puny lashes. And sometimes like if the mascara wand, the bristles are too big, I get it all over my lid. I get it even down here. This, I feel like I can get real close to my lashes and just glide this product on, and it just coats every single lash beautifully. It's just really cool. It's simple to use. I love that it like lengthens my lashes. It gives it a little bit of volume. Like it's the Goldilocks of mascaras. I feel like it just enhances my lashes in every way. Makes them a little bit bolder, makes them a little bit deeper, makes them a little bit longer, keeps the curl. Just wonderful. So the Surratt Noir Lash Tint is magnifique. So a new lip liner to mention. This is the Westman Atelier lip liners, or lip shape lip liner. And there's two shades that I really love, Sable, which is what I have on today, and Ja Rêve, which is a little bit of a, more of like a mauve shade. Let me do some swatches. So here is Ja Rêve. So you can see it's a little bit pinkier, and here's Sable, which is just a little bit warmer. I love them both, kind of depending on what I'm looking for, what lipstick I'm trying to match. It's the formula of these that I'm very impressed with. They have a creamy feel to them, so they glide on really nicely, really smoothly. There's no tugging, there's no pulling, it's not dry in any way, but there's a thickness to them, so they really stay put, but I can like blend them into my lipstick if I want. They're just really great. It's like this thick, almost like a little bit sticky feeling. That sounds really gross, but trust me, it works. It's a great formula. It doesn't feel sticky throughout the day, but almost like, I don't know, I feel like it helps them not budge at all, and it just doesn't interfere with anything else that I have on. And I love them. I love them so much. The colors are great. The formula is great. Great lip liner. It's the one that I have been reaching for pretty much ever since I got them. All right, let's talk about lip products, lipsticks, lip glosses, the whole thing, because I've got quite a few. I really tried to like reel myself in, but I just couldn't. I couldn't. Anyway, so the Hermes Silky Lipstick Shine. I love these. It's what I have on today. I have on the shade Brilliant Beige Tan. It's number 16, and it's these lipsticks that are a little bit slimmer. They're of a softer formula. And let me just do a swatch. And this is just such a great everyday lipstick. It's lightly tinted. It's super balmy, super moisturizing. It has a really gorgeous shine. Let me reapply because I've been talking now for hours. It doesn't feel too thin, it doesn't feel too thick. And again, I've mentioned this in regards to other products, but it's like the Goldilocks of formulas where I find some balms are just a little bit too thick, where they feel great after like your lip, you know, heats them up, kind of like melts them a little bit, but they tug when you apply them. Not my favorite. And then there are ones that are just really, really thin that I feel like gets absorbed and then like they're gone and you're done. This is like right in between. So comfortable, beautiful tinting, a great pairing to some lip liner if you want like more of a contoured edge, you want like that more defined like lip liner look, which is kind of coming back. That still like blows my mind away. I remember, you know, in the early to mid 90s, right? The whole like really strong lip liner look was in, and then we moved away from it. And then looking back on those pictures, I remember thinking like, what were we thinking? Like we looked crazy. Like why did we just basically have like lip liner and then like lip gloss? And here we are. We're back. We're back. Anyway, love these silky lipstick shines from Hermes. Okay, in terms of just a straight up cream lipstick, Chantecaille's Lip Cremes, which came out this past year. Wow, I have already dented the case of this, but I pulled up Bamboo, which is my favorite color in this line. But there's plenty of beautiful shades. This is a really gorgeous nude, and it actually reminds me of the Clé de Peau lipstick. Before they came out with the lipsticks that they have now, they had a Bamboo, and it was very similar to this. Anyway, I was happy to see this from Chantecaille. Here is a swatch of these lip cremes. Look at how emollient they look. And this color is gorgeous, but look at how emollient they look. It's not like a tinted balm in any way. These are like a straight up, honest to goodness lipstick. But they're so comfortable and they're so moisturizing, and Chantecaille really has an incredible way with lip products. I could mention all of the Chantecaille lip products, but I really, really like this formula. The pigmentation is very rich, and this shade, this Bamboo shade, is really gorgeous, but it just feels so comfortable on the lips. Again, it's, you know, it's a cream lipstick where you're not gonna feel it kind of like dry down and you're left with like makeup on your mouth. Again, not my favorite feeling. These are really, really weightless and they feel wonderful. So that's the lip creme from Chantecaille. And then you knew I could not go without mentioning the Rouge Coco Flash from Chanel. I have a bunch of shades, but I use Boy the most. I mean, have you ever seen one of my lipsticks that far down? I don't, as you guys know, I don't usually pan stuff because I have too much. But this boy oh boy, do I use this a lot. It's so great. And that Rouge Coco Flash formula is perfection. Now, someone was asking me, oh, I thought these were being discontinued. I was instantly enraged when I saw that comment, not at the commenter, but at the idea that these could be discontinued. I think maybe they reformulated them. Someone in the comment section, please educate me. If they've been reformulated, I'm definitely gonna have to try it out. Absolutely, I'm definitely gonna have to test them and make sure that there's still this really wonderful, like just silky moisturizing formula where they go on really smoothly, really beautifully, right? No tugging, nothing like that. But these are lip products that melt onto your lips. You can feel them get like a little bit thinner with like the heat of your lips, but it's not like they completely disappear or anything like that. The pigmentation is still there, the product is still there. They're shiny on the lips, but they're not like this wet, drooling shine, like an ultra high gloss kind of shine. They're just really juicy. That's the word. They're just very, very juicy. So I love the formula. I love the shades. They have a ton of shades. I love the shades. Boys, by far my favorite. I mention these almost every single time I do a Chanel video, I do an all-time, you know, favorite luxury makeup that I always mention, along with this, the Rouge Coco Gloss. You guys know, 804. This shade is so good. This shade is so good. This shade paired with like a Jarreau, or even a Sable, although I feel like the Sable is could be a little bit too warm, maybe depending on your skin tone. But this with the Jarreau Westwood Atelier will give you the juiciest, fullest lip look. If you're really into that, like really into like a full kind of like lip look, this will give that to you. And I really like this gloss formula. There's no scent, which is really great. There is a little bit of stickiness, but never will it get stringy. It's just that stickiness that allows the gloss to kind of like stay put. There's a beautiful shine to this, but again, it's not ultra high shine where, you know, I'm not the biggest fan. I think it's a great like editorial look, but I feel like for the everyday, that ultra high glossy shine just makes me look like I'm drooling. Not a fan. So love the shine, love the formula, love that shade, 804, Rose Naif, so good. And a gloss that I can say is either tied with the Chanel or a very, very close second is the Armani Prism Gloss. And I've got Nude Glow, and you can see how much I love it. Again, I don't use that much of my makeup, but this is pretty much halfway done. And I have 2 tubes of this. Do I have the other one here? No, it's probably in my handbag. I have 2 tubes of this because I traveled. I forgot to pack this and I was like, I have to get it. I have to get it. So I have 2 tubes of this. I love it. This shade is absolutely gorgeous. It has a little bit of iridescence to it. Like this Chanel is just like a cream kind of finish. There's no like metallic sheen to it. There are no shimmery bits in there. This has a little bit of a sheen to it, a little bit of shimmery bits. And it's just great. I mean, I like it for many of the same reasons I like the Chanel. It has a great finish. It makes my lips look juicy, but the finish of it isn't like super duper ultra high shine, just really healthy, really juicy. There's no fragrance, and the formula of this is even less sticky and less dense than the Chanel. So this is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I had to mention the Prada Banana Lip Balm. I love this lip balm. It has the best finish. Now, I thought at first it was just gonna be this gimmicky, you know, it's yellow. It probably is just like a clear balm. It maybe smells like banana. I don't think it smells like banana, by the way. There is a scent, but I don't know, it's, well, maybe it smells like banana. It just kind of smells like a random fruit. Anyway, I didn't have that many high expectations. You guys know I love Prada. I was like, let me try it. I had really good luck with the Lemon Glow from Dior, the oil, and I was like, I don't know, really into like the yellow color, whatever. Anyway, my point is, the finish of this was not only surprising, but gorgeous. So there's this very, very slight metallic kind of sheen to it. Do you see that? It's metallic, but very, very subtle. It's like the most subtle frostiness that you can get. And then there's a slight iridescence between like a yellow gold and a peachy gold. So it stays kind of warm on the lips. Oh my God, it's beautiful. It's beautiful by itself. It's beautiful as a lip topper. It feels great, like in terms of it being a balm. It is very, very nourishing for my lips. It's very moisturizing feeling. It glides right on. It's just stunning. I love it. I love it so much. And I think it's like a little bit of a surprise, like how beautiful this sheen is. It's almost like a highlighter for your lips. And I love that it's basically sheer. So it's like non-committal. You can throw this on, it perfects your lips, it makes them look juicy, it makes them look fuller. You give them this like little bit of a sheen, but it's so light. So I love, love, love this lip balm from Prada. All right, guys, that is it for this video. Those are my all-time favorite luxury makeup products. Please let us know down below in the comment section what you love. Please share with the class. Let me know if I missed anything. I'm sure I did. So give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you're enjoying my content, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.